Hey, hello fellow YouTubians. It tells me it's July 24th. I've put a lot of pictures up on Tumblr and on Facebook, but I realized that I haven't done a really good job of letting you know what's going on in the shop. So here is where I am right now. Building codes require, well, the building inspector requires that my electrical and plumbing installation process be documented and approved by a professional engineer. So, very nice. Professional engineer is now looking over my stuff. But I wanted to show you what I did in the back to help me get started on when I did my drawings. Here we go. First of all, I have these beautiful white walls with a plastic that stuff doesn't stick to very well. So that's actually an advantage. I don't have to worry about messing things up. This, what you're looking at right now is the north wall, and this is where the main power feed is going to come in. And that big square rectangle you see in the middle is where the power panel would be. The lines represent conduit. Right here would be the 220 volt outlet, and that's for the fruit grinder. I've got some service outlets here for the water pump, and maybe if I ever need a water softener, so I got a water softener. Looking up, the fan is probably going to move over here from the other side of the room just because. There's a hard wire point for the hot water heater. An outlet just tucked away around the corner, so if I use the roll-around air conditioner again, I have a short, convenient outlet space for it. There's going to be a, well, right around there, very close to the drain hole, will be a hand wash station. But then the rest of this is going to become counter workspace. So convenience outlets all along that outlet. So I don't have to have a lot of long cords laying all over the counter. I don't want that. My titration rig will probably be in the corner, and that will be a good place for a hot plate and the magnetic mixer. So, and possibly the scale. So, service outlets here. Another outlet up there for the fan in case they want to do it. And that shoebox rectangle is for a cable trough. Rather than run wire all the way around the walls, and it's kind of a pain, I'm going to run a main conduit feed from the left side of the panel up and over the ceiling to the cable trough. From the cable trough, part of it will service those outlets and part of it will come around to the west wall. And the west wall is interesting because almost every outlet will have its own dedicated breaker. That way I can plug coolers in here, and two coolers turning on at the same time won't pop a breaker. They're just 15 amp outlets, but if two coolers were to turn on at the same time, conceivably you could drop a 20 amp breaker, so it's just easier to give each one its own 15 amp branch. So the blue tape really helped a lot, because I had the space and the ability to do it, to give me a real life, full scale display of what everything is going to look like in the finished product. One thing that came up today that was really kind of interesting, and I'm really glad he brought it up, was that my discharge right now just goes into a ditch because all it is rinse water. And he goes, what if you have a spill of something toxic? What's your response plan? That's really a very honest and valid question. So what I'm going to do is, you can see down there I have a union, and that's for servicing the water pump. I'm going to make some mods to that so that I can decouple the pump from the union and hook it up to an exhaust hose and pump it directly into a barrel. So if something I didn't want to spill, let's say I kicked over a can that had oil in it or something and it got into the drains, oh my Lord. Some soap and water, scrub it all down, but now I've got an oil water mix and I have to treat it appropriately. And being a good Coast Guardsman, I will. What I'll be able to do then, and I'll always leave the pump off unless I'm in the room, is I'll be able to decouple the pump from the main discharge line, hook up a hose to it, and pump it straight into a 55-gallon drum and take it to the municipal water plant. And they actually do that. The breweries near here, apparently, they generate so much yeast byproduct and the like that they have to truck it out and have it, fed slowly into the municipal treatment plant, because if they surged it all at once, it would cause problems. So there would not be a problem getting rid of the stuff, an oily water mix. And it's sort of the same thing they do when they get rid of hazmat at a gas station or the like. So I'm really glad he brought that up. It was sort of, kind of a nuisance at first, but then I realized, the man's really got a good idea. So what I'm probably going to do is make a few mods to that so it can actually raise that arm up a little bit, get enough room so I can get underneath it and add a fitting on there. I really don't see it being a big problem. I actually might put the union in before. If I put the union in right here, because there's room for it, that would really be the best place. Pop the two apart, turn the pump a little bit, hook the hose up to it, pump away straight away into a holding tank. Discharge hose, the stuff that just holds flat, like from water pumps and stuff, it's cheap. So I wouldn't use the good rigid hose, I would just use a flat hose and use that to keep it from getting into a creek. So, that was cool. And then he did have questions. What are all these outlets for? And what are you doing with them? So I went back to the drawing and labeled all the breakers for their function. And I added onto the description for how many conductors of what type would be in each section of conduit. I guess he's used to seeing that done differently. I like everything on one drawing. One-stop shopping. So there you have it. Last but not least, I haven't hung it on the wall yet because I got other things to do. Look at that, my hand wash station. That's the one thing I know I absolutely have to have before I start. I can do without having my big sink and stuff, but I absolutely need to have a hand wash station. Probably got to get one of them liquid soap dispensers too. So, yippee yappy yahooey. We've had mixed weather here, either scorching mid-90s, very hot and muggy, or the like, or it gets cold. And I have found that this roll-around air conditioner, it doesn't do everything it's supposed to do, which is it's not supposed to drain, but it does. So I drain it into the sump pit. But it has done a wonderful job of keeping the humidity down in here. But if it gets cold in here, you just put in the dehumidifier mode, you take the hose off the window and blow the warm air back into the room. It's a bitchin' space heater at the same time. If it's cold and clammy, it's getting rid of the humidity. So it has a place. This is an earlier model, DeLonghi. If you're ever thinking about getting an indoor air conditioner, I gotta warn you, I have yet to have heard about one that is truly effective at evaporating and forcing out the condensate. This one has a very small tank, so I just hooked up a hose to the tank line and put it into the drain pit. But it really cranks out cold air, and it makes it very comfortable in here very quickly. So that's it. This is my holodeck version of how I'm going to wire the place. I'm hoping someday soon you're going to see a lot of really boring gray conduit up there with weather covers on it, and that look kind of like that. And I'll be able to get down to it. And in closing, the